my fellow Americans, this is former President Barack Hussein Obama, and you're listening to the Mad Titan Podcast. Please be sure to support this young brother from Chicago, Jay Washington, because he's a funny bastard. God bless you, and God bless the United States of America.
I ignored my destiny once. I cannot do that again. Even for you. I'm the only one who knows that. At least I'm the only one with the will to act on it.
The Mad Titan Podcast with your host, Jay Washington.
What's happening, everybody? I'm back. It is episode 7 of the Mad Titan Podcast. Me, resident villain, Mr. Jay Washington. How's everybody feeling? You may hear me sound hella depressed during this episode, hella upset. And the reason being, this is the actual second time I'm recording it. I just felt like, you know what, the hell with it, fuck it, let me just do it and get it out. Why is it the second time, you're asking? Well, I recorded it yesterday, and I did some special, and I enjoyed what I did. What I did was I put a link up in the Discord for the members of the Supervillain Squad, which if you aren't a member, you should join right now, patreon.com/Mr. J. Washington. And first of all, those are producers of the show, and those are people who truly adamantly support me. I mean, a lot of people support. You've listened to this, you support. But your support goes another level when you join the Patreon. It just is what it is. Let's call it for what it is. And so I put a link there, and I allowed members of the squad to come in and be a part of the show while I recorded the episode. And I had a blast. Shouts out to Randy Constance, Alberto Rios, Kirstie Oliveria, Cheryl Corman. I think it was Jared Simpson as well. All of you guys who were part of this, I appreciate all of you all. When I got to edit it, I realized the audio was not right, especially on my end. So normally when I'm having it set up, it all records well. The audio's good. For some reason, the audio was coming out of my visual, out of my camera, and not out of my not from my microphone. And I was very, very upset. I mean, it's a whole great hour-something episode. I might put this up in the Patreon one day as lost files because it was just so fun. It was so many crazy things happen. Like, I'm streaming. So I use the platform that's similar to Skype, Zoom. It's called StreamYard. A lot of people have been using it, and you can actually just straight record on that. And so we all were able in there. I told everybody we could, you can have your cameras on if you want. You don't have to. We're just gonna use the audio because the podcast is just audio. Even though it goes to YouTube, and everybody was just sitting there. And there were times when my cameras, because I need new cameras. My cameras I thought were great cameras. They are dying out. So I'm trying to figure out how to get new cameras and all this new equipment and stuff so I can, consider to keep doing work shit more than anything. But the camera kept freezing. So I would have to try to reset the camera consistently. And the camera would catch me when it froze. It would catch my face in some wild ass poses and positions. Like, I wasn't even trying to make this shit up. It just would happen. And everybody was having a blast because the thing was, they could see I'd frozen. I was gone. They couldn't hear me, but I could still hear everything. And they were like, "Oh, we finna take over the show," and blah, blah, blah. And it was just so much fun. The interactions were so great. And the responses to some of the questions that I got from the email and the hotline were even better. And I'm just upset that that's gone. Like, I would put it out, but it's not quality. It's trash. I mean, not the episode. I mean, the audio quality didn't go well, so I don't want to put it out for y'all. And then people who start listening to it like, I don't want to hear it this way. I don't want to do y'all like that, because if you listen to me, and I'm appreciative of it, and I'm grateful, I want to make sure that you all get the quality you deserve. Now, with that being said, I will possibly do another episode very, very soon the same way. So either, even though this is late, and this is 2 weeks late because, again, everyone knows I was back in Chicago. I was traveling. I had a lot of things I had to get done. I had a lot of work I was doing all week. If you know me, I got back from Chicago on Monday afternoon at noon, Los Angeles time. I got back at noon. By 2 p.m. Los Angeles time, I had to be on air for game time with myself and John Roca. Then the next day, I had a bunch of stuff I had to finish up. Then the next day, I had some more stuff I had to work on. I had some auditions and everything. Then I had to do Blurs in the Hood myself in Winston. Not to mention after that, I got off. We did our Focus T25 workout. I had to be in the wrestling ring for training. Wednesday, I had a bunch of stuff going on. I had to do a stand-up show. Then I had to, shouts out to Machine Stewart for the show. And then I had to moderate the panel for Arrow, an ode to Arrow for FanX Salt Lake Comic Con, which again, much love to everybody from FanX Salt Lake. You guys, just Salt Lake City, you all have shown me so much love. And I'm so grateful as shit for y'all. I'm so mad I won't be able to join y'all this year because there won't be any FanX this year. Of course, with the current situation with the global pandemic, gatherings like that are really, really ill-advised. Which, I want to bring this up real quick. Try not to get political on the podcast. I try to keep the shit A100. I mean, but it's barbershop talk. So if you've ever been to a black barbershop, you know we talk about everything, anything. I'm talking about the pandemic. And we are the only country in the world who has made a global pandemic political. I think people need to understand how fucking dumb that is. I think people need to understand how fucking stupid it is that there's an argument over just covering your face. That's it. Not just for you, but to protect others. Again, it's always been said, the mask isn't for you. It's to protect others because you potentially may be asymptomatic and you don't know. We are the only country in this world has made it where it's quote unquote people trying to take liberties and take away your freedoms and your rights and blah, 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 and made it real political over a fucking global pandemic. And I don't want to hear any of those, oh, well, you got to see the plan and blah, blah, blah. My plan literally is to follow the science. Well, they keep changing and saying different things about it. Yes, because this is a brand new thing. This is a brand new virus. We have not experienced a global pandemic in over 100 years. And yes, now with science and technology and a 24-hour news cycle, things will change consistently because everybody's trying to be on top of it, on the latest bit. And so consistently things will change. We're the only fucking country in the world who has done that. And by that, we have the highest deaths in the entire world from a virus, which could have been prevented. And again, I know people probably, if you turn it off now, like, he talking about this, going, oh, but the flu is worse and blah, blah, blah. The flu is worse. The flu has killed so many people, yes, but the flu has never killed as many people as the coronavirus has in a short time frame. And I think people need to see that shit. The coronavirus started killing people off March, April, and we are not even done with the year yet. We are not even officially into regular flu season. I think it's absurd. I think it's surreal. But because of that, if we've done what we needed to do for the 2-3 months that were required, instead of bitching and complaining that you couldn't go outside and get a haircut, that you couldn't play golf, dumb shit like that, protesting that stupid shit and then making it spread more, we could have probably been back to some track of normalcy. Therefore, Comic-Cons where many of us make livings off of, getting paid to come out and moderate panels and whatnot, and some people get paid to do appearances and sell merchandise and all those things, and that's gone for the year. And Salt Lake City was one of those places within my year that I loved going to. I know the state of Utah is the state of Utah. I get it. I totally get it. But the fans at the Comic-Con there have shown me so much love, and so I'm really upset I didn't get to be there. But to be able to do the panel for you guys, the Ode to Arrow, myself with Jacqueline Wiest, Leah Pouliot, I hope I did it right. That was so great. And to have special guests dropped in, Manu Bennett, who played Slade Wilson, a.k.a. Deathstroke himself, was dope. Even though we had some technical issues one way or the other, but it was still just a surreal moment, and it was a good thing to happen. But anyway, that, and then Thursday, I had to do Binge Battle, where I was part of Team Fandango along with Eric Davis, and we took on Team Rotten Tomatoes, the Blur Girl, Kara Mahorn, and Jacqueline Coley, and we debated the MCU all the way through. Strongest Avengers, most memorable moment, powerful lines and things like that. We did that, and that was a blast. And again, all these different things nonstop. So I got busy, so I wasn't able to record the podcast. But then I decided to do it yesterday, and like I said, include members of the squad and to have the audio situation. So what I'm thinking is, in about a week and a half, when I do one of either 71 or 72, I'm going to do it in advance. I'm going to set it up where I'm going to let people know, look, in the squad, you got to be a member of the squad to get all the information of how to join. But the members of the squad will know through the Discord that we have, because I have a Supervillain Squad Discord. Not only do I have the Patreon where I give them extra content, I have the Discord. But we will have that, and I'll set up a time so people can know in advance. And this way, I can do it again with the members of the squad. That's that. And I just wanted to say that. So it really sucked that it was done, but I'm going to knock this episode out. Me, myself, and I, get it going and just get it out to y'all. It's not a lot to talk about, so I was able to talk about much more with all the people, but let's rock it out. So for those who are new to the podcast, what I do is get you caught up on all the things happening in the Marvel and DC live action and cinematic universes. Like I told you before, I said it earlier, this is Barbershop Talk for Nerds. So we keep this shit real, A100, and have a lot of fun in the process doing it. All right? And I kick it off always with my Marvel news. And then the biggest Marvel news that happened within the past 2 weeks. Nia DaCosta, the director of the upcoming Candyman remake, has been tapped to direct Captain Marvel 2. She will be taking over the directorial role from Anna Bowden and Ryan Fleck, who directed Captain Marvel 1. Now, not only is Nia coming off of a highly anticipated movie that we were supposed to get this year. We were supposed to get back in June, but due to COVID-19 and everything being shut down, it's been pushed back. She also directed the indie darling Little Fires, which put her highly on Jordan Peele's radar. Now, the biggest thing behind this that makes this so dope is that Nia is officially the first black woman to direct an MCU film. Major move. Major move. And Kevin Feige, Marvel Studios, they interviewed and talked with a bunch of other directors about potentially, directing the project. And supposedly Nia is the one that came out the gate swinging the hardest, had the most edge to her and to the ideas in which she brought to the table about how to tell the story going forward to Captain Marvel 2. And so that is how she won the bid, if you will. I think this is so dope. And I know we're in this midst of, elevating black voices and, the Black Lives Matter movement on a global front. And you have so many racists pushing back against it because black people asking to march for, asking for equality is a terrifying thing to them. And you bring that up and you get a bunch of white dudes in comments on Facebook and Twitter, Instagram, and older white chicks, people who've never been around a black person, saying, oh, it's just a Marxist thing, just wants to take over the government and destroy and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, yo, what type of Breitbart, Fox News, stupid ass, QAnon, Anonymous, whatever fucking talking points do you want to keep repeating without knowing for yourself? Oh, they've said they're Marxists and they'd rather have it all burned to the ground and blah, 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 blah. You know why? You know why you say burn it to the ground? Because of the shit that black people have been through. The shit that black people have experienced nonstop. Racism isn't that bad. You're a fucking liar. You're a fucking liar. And really, it upsets me. And so we're in the midst of all of this. And to have a black woman who is highly touted in the directorial field. Now, she wasn't going to be the first. Never forget, Ava DuVernay would have been the first with doing Black Panther. So I don't want to be remiss and miss out on that. Ava DuVernay would have did Black Panther, but then she turned the reins over to Ryan Coogler. And so to have this happen, again, we talked about even in the when I did the other recording, how Captain Marvel is not a lot of people's favorites for several reasons, whether it be the story itself, the film itself, the character development of Carol Danvers, Brie Larson. There are numerous reasons why many people don't like it, but there are also reasons why many people do love it. Now, I'm not going to say that this movie is held in the same regard and high standards as Wonder Woman, because it's not. It's not. But this movie did crack $1 billion at the box office. Give a fuck what nobody says. The movie cracked $1 billion at the box office. So, like, what more do you need? Granted, I know we all want these great stories, especially when we're talking about comic book movies, where a lot of us have grown up on, a lot of us have not. A lot of people, as we talked about, again, I'm mad we didn't have this discussion recorded, the audio from it. But Cheryl Corman, one of the members of the Supervillain Squad, she said a great thing. She was like, she didn't grow up on comic books. She's become fans through the movies, through the MCU itself, which a lot of people have. And so that's how a lot of people grow to it. So I actually give a lot more credit and support to those, because you're not mentally and emotionally beholden to comic book lore. You know what I mean? Like, you're not held to the whole canon of shit. You ain't got to sit around here and be like, well, actually, such and such did this, and then they did that, and the story should go this. Because we hear this shit too much. We hear this shit all the time, and this shit gets annoying. I'm a comic book fan. I grew up with these characters. Yes. I know these stories. Yes. Some I don't know. Because I'm going to be honest, there was a point where I fell off reading comic books religiously every time. Because I literally started doing shit in life that took up my time. But I'm not always like, yo, this shit should go this way, that way. I understand that you cannot directly translate a comic book page for page into the screen, because the shit would be 5 minutes. 5 minutes. A story written does not translate to a screenplay, or a teleplay, which does not translate to the screen in itself fully. It just don't, y'all. The fact we're getting these A-list actors, in many instances, to be a part of this, to be a part of our childhood, to be a part of our, what was a part of us, speaks volumes. Now, granted, yes, a lot of them jump in it because they're like, yo, I want this money. Which is, again, you can't get mad at anybody wanting to come on any project because they want to get that bread. When you're in any facet of any business or anything that has a profit, when you're part of it in any way, you are in it to make money as much as you are for the love of something. I don't give a fuck what nobody say. You can lie and say other words and say, oh, they just did it because they love this. No, you got a part of it because, yeah, you love it, but the money you make. That's just a thing. You're in business. Yes, you do a job because you love your job, but also your job is going to compensate you well for doing it. So when we get these A-list actors, we know that money's coming in, and that's why they want to do it, but also they're part of something. And look, we're getting a lot of A-list actors who aren't just ones and dones, whether their schedule's dictated or them. So when I go back to Brie Larson and Captain Marvel, Brie is an Academy Award winner. Some people do not like her as an actor. That is totally fine. Some people love her as an actor. Some people didn't like her statements about seeing all white men in press junkets, which, again, I had no problem with what she said. And I know some people are like, yo, Jay, that's racist. I'm like, no, it's not racist. It was true. You've never been at a press junket before. You've never seen that shit before. You've never seen a small amount of women in general, or a small amount of people of color, and just all white men. Now, again, I have no problem with white dudes. Y'all cool. A lot of y'all are cool with me. But when you start trying to gatekeep shit as if you're the only ones who are responsible for putting out, who are the only ones who should be trusted or should be responsible for putting out this information and getting these sources and things to the world, and that's a fucking issue, because you're not. Nobody is the controller of that. That's like, I hate this Comicsgate bullshit. I've just read what it was about. I didn't even follow it. I just read what it was about. I was like, yo, that shit's trash. You motherfuckers are garbage. But again, you bring in somebody to take over the story in Nia DaCosta, to elevate the story of Carol Danvers. Now, we know, we want to know where does the story go now for her? Because We don't know if she's off world. We know she's off. We know she's off world. We don't know if her story goes. Her, helping another planet, her coming back to Earth, or what. So again, whatever that story that's going to be told by the writers, I forgot what's her name. I saw a writer who's a staff writer on WandaVision is writing the film. I had to find her name. She's writing the movie, and then Nia's going to direct it. So we don't know the actual storyline though. So I said we got to wait and give shit a shot before we all jump out the window. Trying to say shit'll bomb or shit'll be bad or blah, blah, blah. Let's give the shit a chance. All right? Can we do that? Cool. My only other bit of Marvel news that I have right now, Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings is back filming in Sydney, Australia. Of course, Sydney is one of the countries that got their shit together. And so they are currently filming on there. And the only thing I think we really know about the movie is that it is a Mortal Kombat style tournament to win the 10 rings. And which I'm highly excited for. And I think we're going to see the actual Mandarin. I think, I forgot what his name is, but he's going to be playing Shang-Chi's father. He's supposed to be the actual Mandarin in the movie. Like, all right, roll with it. You told me we getting Fing Fan Boom. I don't give a fuck about nothing else. Okay? Give a shit about nothing else. So yeah, that's pretty much it with Marvel news. As I told y'all, there's not a lot of news as a whole. It's not me just trying to be on bullshit. It's just not a lot. Let's go over to my DC news. DC FanDome is ramped up more, man. We got a trailer, and we got the trailer officially. First, it had the backdrop to the classic Superman movie theme. And then we got another thing letting people know what it was going to be about and all of the stars that can be expected to be, all of the stars that would be expected to be a part of DC FanDome. And let's just say pretty much it's everybody from the movies and TV shows. Which I'm not surprised at all. It's everybody from the movies and TV shows. And so they all will be a part of it. And then they also listed a lot of the hosts. And I saw a lot of the names, the host and guests and stuff like that. And I was like, I don't like to see my name unless I'm much more. I feel like it's one of those things I just feel like I want to be a part of because it's historic. It's the first time it's ever been done. It's going to happen August 22nd, which also is kicking off my birthday for me. Birthday's August 25th, just so y'all can know in advance. Get your shit together if you want to get Jay his gifts or show some love. You show love. That's the thing, because birthdays they're always a blessing for me because I'm from a place where I shouldn't have made it, and I did, and I celebrate every year that I'm here. But to see that the way I've pumped heavily some of these shows and movies, and I want to see this. I want to be a part of this in every way. Yeah, I'm going to experience FanDome because it's free for everybody. I'm going to experience it, but I want to be a part of it. I want to be part of the history in which it is. So we'll see what happens. But also, we're expected to get a lot of trailers through that. Like, we recently got teased a small clip of Kristen Wiig's transformation into Cheetah that happened on Instagram. You just see her as Barbara and Minerva just running, and then it cuts off. I want to be an apex predator. I think we're going to get, people have wondered why we have not gotten the second trailer for Wonder Woman 84. I think it's because we won't get that until FanDome, and it's smart. Why would you give that away before then? Why would you give away anything before then? This is your big thing. You need everybody to come to this, right? Wonder Woman 84 is a trailer people want. There are other trailers and stuff like that people want. Why would you give it away before then when people are going to see it here? Granted, it's free, and as soon as it drops, it's going to drop on YouTube and all the other platforms, but give it to them there, first and foremost. We're also going to get a trailer, supposedly, for Zack Snyder's Justice League. So, I'm trying to think of how to say this. And, just stay on how I feel about this shit and how I've been feeling. I don't care about this movie. I feel like there is too much hype. There's too much hype behind this. Unnecessary hype. Again, this is my feelings. You've got people saying, okay, finally Zack Snyder's vision is seen, it's revealed, and yeah, I guess. But at the same time, I'm of the same mind as a person who's in the industry, who knows directors, who's seen this. Every director does not get to tell a vision. It is what it is. Especially when you're working with a major production studio. Now, I know some people will go back and say, well, James Gunn said that the studio didn't get involved with his. That's fine. That's fine, but that's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is everybody assuming because they liked the track record that things were happening, and then Zack Snyder stepped off, and then they brought in somebody else, and then Warner Brothers sit there moving forward, that they were obligated to go back, and they weren't. They didn't have to. Warner Brothers has openly and clearly said, we are going forward in a brand new direction. I think people a part of the Snyder Cut cult, need to understand that more than anything. Okay, you get in the movie, which again, still believe is a giant marketing ploy to help get more subscribers to HBO Max because they have not hit their numbers. Which was dumb to announce it when they did, because they announced it a week before the launch of HBO Max, thinking it was going to kick up the numbers, and it didn't, and it wasn't, because you told everybody you are not getting it until a year later. So why tell it then? You're supposed to tell people you can get the Snyder Cut now, but you have to have HBO Max. Boom. That's how you do it. This is only about a money thing. They're saying, people always, oh, well, they listen to the fans. They didn't. You know, y'all do realize all y'all emails went into a spam folder, right? Like, your shit was filtered to spam. Like, it didn't matter. But again, everybody's like, oh, you just hating and blah, 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 blah. Like, I don't care how people feel one way or another from Joss Whedon's version to Zack Snyder. I when I say I don't care, it's like, yo, if you like one, you like one. You don't like one, you don't like one. But the fact of all this, making a fuss, making a ruckus, all this, making a big deal about, yeah, and blah, 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 and we're not going to get any of this. Okay, cool. You get the movie, then what? I think I have to say this almost every single week until it drops, because there's always some news about it, or either I stop talking news about it, because that's one of the two things that's going to fucking happen around here. But it's like, you get the movie, it drops, then what? Then what? Like, Henry Cavill signed on to do appearances, not another Superman movie, not a Man of Steel 2, right? So what are y'all expecting? Calm down. Like, okay, you're going to get things that look different, fine. Quote unquote, he's not using it. Listen, he literally said he's not using anything Joss Whedon shot. That is fine. Joss Whedon didn't reshoot the whole movie. Just so y'all know. Y'all need to know what reshoots are. And reshoots are normally pickups. They're pickups. They're not the whole movie. It's just not. They didn't redo a whole movie. So, stop with your, well, such and such said, no. Here's the thing. A lot of times, some people reporting shit never have been actually part of the filmmaking process. Some might have. Some have been failed versions of directors and actors, and then they go into the other side of the camera to try to talk about it. That's true. That's fine. But some have never done it. Some just want to talk about it, and they love it, and they hear something from somebody, and they take it on and pass it on to somebody else. As somebody in movies, as somebody who's done movies, reshoots are, all right, we need to pick this up. Okay, we need to get this because we didn't catch this angle. We didn't get that angle. It doesn't always mean that. You know, there's certain shit, yeah, that's not done. And also when you're saying, oh, he's going to fix all the stuff we didn't like. Well, now some of the stuff is still the same. Yeah, now we'll probably find out the reason behind that Russian family, which made no fucking sense. And the vines. And the CGI on it will look better. But it's not changing that storyline. You get what I'm saying? So, again, some of y'all are for it. I'm going to watch it regardless. We've already established this. I'm going to watch it regardless. So, and I'm going to go in with an open mind. Why? I'm like, might as well do this and get it over with. Let me watch it. If I like it, I like it. If I don't, I don't. So that's just how that is. I didn't go in and say it's going to be trash. I just think, again, for a director to come in and do reshoots, not principal photography, reshoots. reshoots tells me something about principal photography in itself. And again, here's the problem. Here's one of the quick things. I'll move on from this after this. Why I know people will love it is because everybody's been high on Zach's, oh, you've got to watch his directorial versions. Like, I don't think y'all understand this. Movies are not released in directorial cuts. Movies are not released with the directorial's full vision of a film. Movies are released with theatrical versions. That's what makes people go see them. No film is released to theaters as a director's full cut. None at all. So, could it be better? Yeah. Because now it's this 5-hour version. Just like when everybody was like, oh, you got to watch the full Batman v Superman theatrical, the director's cut to fully get it. Like, do I? So much. It's so much. But nonetheless, also, according to The Rock, we're going to get something about Black Adam. Now, here's the thing with that. I want to know what the fuck are we finally finna get. Because I don't think, they haven't started shooting. He put up a picture of what seems like a silhouette of him standing in a cave or a temple or something like that. It doesn't seem to have a cape, so it doesn't seem like he has the cape for the Black Adam suit. Or unless he's doing the Black Adam suit without the cape. Without the tunic, excuse me. I just don't want to see concept art. If that shit makes sense. We've been so long talking about this man as Black Adam. For almost 10 years, right? And we got hyped up and we've been pumped up and all this. And after Shazam was successful, he knew he was rushing to making it happen officially. But then it had to get pushed back because they was like, hey, Dwayne, you got to be on a cruise, a jungle cruise. So, and you got to punch a torpedo and you got to do other shit. Like, you can't just run and jump and do this. And so, like, I don't know if they've shot anything. I just want to know if we see anything. I do not want to see concept art. I don't just want to see Dwayne Johnson having shot something in Egypt with another movie, a Jumanji movie maybe, and all of a sudden they put him in a different thing and they show him walking and finding something in Egypt before he becomes Black Adam. I don't want to see that. I need to see Dwayne Johnson in the actual Black Adam suit they are going to use for the movie. If anything else. Excuse me. If anything else, I need to see exactly what he's going to look like in this movie as Black Adam. Not concept art. Not a drawing, a painting, a digital rendering. Show us him in the suit. That's the only thing that'll suffice. Because in this situation, it's been far too long waiting. Far too long. I think we're going to get the Suicide Squad trailer. We're getting that for sure. I think we'll get some casting announcements for certain things, if anything is coming up for it. I think we'll get the Batman trailer, of course. So, I'm just excited for DC FanDome. I truly am. My final DC movie news story, DC news in general. I want to talk about this. I saw this article, and Jurnee Smollett, she talked about the racism she dealt with when getting casted as Black Canary. And yes, this is shit that happened. This just goes back to those gatekeepers and people who think that, now I understand, before I go further, I understand that we as Black people have been saying for the longest we need our own characters. We do have our own characters that can be brought to the screen. We don't want scraps. And we don't want to always have to be part of the gender race swapping of characters. Totally on board with that. 100% believe it. I think the issue is there are some characters in superhero lore from Marvel and DC that could go over well. Could go over well. But there are some characters who are not well known outside of the comic book geeks. Now, again, the movies have shown us that you can bring in obscure characters and people end up loving them if you do them right. And yes, we've gotten that with fucking Guardians of the Galaxy. You can't tell me everybody their mama knew who the fuck a talking raccoon and a talking tree was and a dude named Star-Lord. No, they didn't. You had to be a comic book fan to know about the Guardians. But now we all love them. Now, can the same thing be done with like characters like Icon and so many other milestone characters, or just Blue Marvel, all these different people we can see? Yes, it just has to be done right. And I would hope that the studios would take the time to do them right as they've taken the time to do these other characters. So I get it. I get we want our own. We want the characters we have. I'm 100% behind that. Do not ever get it mistaken that I'm not for that. Now, when it comes to people who are the best fit for the role and you just happen to cast a black man, a black woman because you've opened up the casting doors. You didn't leave that casting door closed on one level like, well, we're only going to do white men or white women. We're only going to do black men or black women. We're only going to do, and I know because that conversation comes up of what happens when they race change a black character to a white character. And I've always been of the belief it depends on the character. I feel like certain characters. Let me see how I'm going to say this, because I said it before and I'm going to make sure I say it right to y'all so people don't get my shit twisted. And then I'm like arguing with motherfuckers, and I don't want to do that. Unless their character is predicated on their race being a certain thing, I think it's up in the air. Again, I understand the not taking scraps. I get the not taking secondhand shit. I'm all for it, all with y'all. Excuse me, my allergies are fucking with me early. I'm all with y'all. But somebody kept bringing up the whole, what if they turn T'Challa white? You can't, because T'Challa's story is predicated on him being a black African king. Yeah, I had to make sure I say black because there are white Africans, South Africans. It's predicated on being a black African king. There are certain characters that have to be who they are. But others can change. But nonetheless, that's a whole nother story. Whole long-ass diatribe. I don't know if I got the energy to go into right now. But she said, Jurnee Smollett said she dealt with all that racism. She said it lit a fuel in her. It ignited a fire in her to give a fucking performance. And Margot Robbie said she was like, when she saw all the people, saw all the hate, she was like, fuck them. Basically, she said they auditioned about 10, 20 women for the role. And when she saw Jurnee, and she said they all were great, but when she saw Jurnee, she was so blown away, she put a bunch of stars and exclamation points by her name. And so, I have nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that at all. There's nothing wrong with that. Like, that woman gave a hellified performance as Black Canary. She was so dope. And she gave such a dope performance. They made her Canary, you cared about her so much. And they didn't just make her Canary scream and cry. You earned it. Because when you got it, it came out and it was earned. So that's what I believe about that. But in other words, I hate haters. Racist are pussies. Y'all bitches. You all are clowns and cowards, and your fragility on the inside is so ridiculous. I hate y'all. The Stargirl is coming up on her season finale, man. Check out the reviews. I'll have the review for the official final episode for the season. I've seen it already. Y'all gonna enjoy it. Let me just say that. The Doom Patrol review, myself and Winston A. Marshall, for their season finale. Their cut short season due to COVID. Man, we talked about it, and we gave a review. It's up on the YouTube channel, youtube.com/JAYWashington80. If you want to check that out as well. I got a call for the Mad Titan Podcast hotline. Excuse me. Damn, I'm going to take these allergy pills as soon as I'm done with this. 818-276-6947. 818-276-6947. I'm going to go to that call right now.
Yo, Brother Jay, what's up? What's good? Chauncey from Chicago calling. Glad to see you back in town for that time, and glad to be a part of the Supervillain Squad now. So I thought about this one and wondering your thoughts on this one, of course, too. for as long as you and myself and probably a few others who grew up in like the 80s and such and know good and well that at one point in time, Transformers and G.I. Joe were a part of the Marvel Universe back in those days. I'm just wondering, how do you think that the likes of a Transformers and or G.I. Joe franchise will fare in the current iteration of Marvel, aka the MCU, animated stuff, etc.? Do you think it'd be too much overkill by adding those two universes into the current iteration, or do you think it'll fare out well? Because, there's been little crossovers here and there, i.e. the little Transformers Avengers crossover that happened about like 10, 15 years back that had the lineup that featured Wolverine, Spider-Man, Luke Cage, etc. I remember that one good and well, but how do you think it will work out? I mean, do you think it'd be too much overkill, or do you think it could fare just fine? Just let me know what you're saying. All right, peace.
All right, thank you to the silky smooth voice homie Chauncey. This motherfucker here, man. It was good hanging out with you, bro. When it was definitely good hanging out with you when I was back in Chicago to do the 101 with the supervillain. It was great. It was super great. You are a good dude, man, and always a good heart, man. It was great having that conversation with you. Thank you for being a member of the squad. But as far as that, yes, Transformers and G.I. Joe were part of Marvel Comics. Yes, they were. I just think to put them in the universe would make that shit one big clusterfuck. This was another conversation we had in the previous recording that was so fun to talk about. Because it's one big clusterfuck. Because, all right, when you talk about the Marvel Cinematic Universe, you already have major cities that are destroyed, ravaged. Well, just the major city, not the suburbs. They're ravaged by the events that go on in each of these movies. But there's never, it's weird how people just go back to life after all the shit happens. You have an alien invasion in New York, and motherfuckers like, all right, so let me go and see who I can swipe and match with on Tinder. You know what I'm saying? You have people disappear, turn into old coffee grinds, and now you're like, man, I wonder if I should open up an artisan pizza shop. Like, I get life has to go on, but it's just weird. And then if you add an element of a terrorist organization, which you already have Hydra and many other terrorist organizations in the Marvel Universe, but then you add in the fact that now there are gigantic fucking robots, sentient robots. That should be wild. That is a mushroom induced, LSD ingested fantasy of a world gone mad. It's a good question, but it's a wild one, bro. It's a wild one. Let me go to some of these emails that I got from the Mad Titan Podcast email, which you can send me your emails in as well. Excuse me, madtitanpodcast@gmail.com, madtitanpodcast@gmail.com. My first email comes from Jason Fry. Jason Fry says, what's up with you this week, bro? I'm thinking 5 years into the future of the MCU mutants and a wacky idea. What do you think about a possible Mojoverse show or movie with Zac Efron as Longshot and Mojo voiced by the legendary Danny DeVito? I know it's crazy, but I think it would be a fun time. I want to hear what you and a possible guest have to say. Have a blessed day, my man. Peace. Thank you so much, Jason, for your email. 5 years into the future of the MCU mutants. I think that is a long way down the line. I think Mojo could be a good... You know what? I thought about it. Initially, I was like, that would be a long, long way down the line. But now that I reread the email and I see you say 5 years into the mutants, because who knows how long it's going to be before we finally get the mutants, especially with everything being pushed back. So if we're saying 2030 almost, because that's probably about the time we'll finally have them, I think, yeah, Mojo could be the villain. I think the MCU has proven they can do some wild and crazy shit, but I just don't know about Zac Efron. I don't understand why everybody want to throw Zac Efron everywhere. You want to make Zac Efron a new Human Torch. You want to do all this with Zac Efron. I'm not a huge on the Zac Efron train. Maybe it's just me. But I don't... So, we'll see. But thank you for your email. Joe Crack. Hey, Jay. Joe from Philly here again. I don't have any questions in regards to anything recent, But I was wondering when you and your guests first got into superheroes and all this other beloved nerd stuff. I know for me, it was growing up in the 90s with the Batman the Animated Series and all of the 90s superhero shows, which then led me into comics. I do remember having toys from the Burton Batman film, despite being 7 when it came out. Anyway, looking forward to hearing and hope things are all well. Thank you, Joe, as always, for your emails and your support. I appreciate you a millionfold. For me, it was in the 80s. I'm an 80s baby, so it was definitely in the 80s. And I remember, first and foremost, growing up on the south side of Chicago, I couldn't leave my house a lot of times because I was stuck in the house because of the violence. The shootings were rampant. Gang wars were crazy. Like, people talk about it now like it's bad, but it's nowhere near what it was in the 80s and 90s. And so getting into comic books and being introduced by friends and stuff, we would trade them off and playing video games and watching TV consistently. That was for me. Man, my superherodom really started with Transformers, G.I. Joe, Thundercats, Silverhawks, Tiger Sharks. You know, I saw the Spider-Man and his Amazing Friends. I saw all the other ones. But I was more into those. And then when I started reading the comic books, I started going deeper into comic book superheroes, if you will. So, yeah, mine's is from the 80s, man. Growing up with it, mine takes me back. So, thank you for your email, Joe. J.L. Phillips says, what's up, Jay? With DC having better villains than Marvel, do you think moving forward it'd be in their best interest to stop doing the one-and-done villain? And to speak on the quote question that was asked on last week's show, I think Captain America has one of the most underrated lines in all the comic book movies. In the Age of Ultron, he said, if you get killed, walk it off. That's a hard-ass line. J.L. Phillips II. I appreciate you, J.L. That is true. That's a hard-ass line. You get killed, walk it off. Like, that's some military shit. That is literally military shit. I know a lot of army soldiers and Marines who been told shit like that. You walk that shit off. You know, DC has better villains than Marvel. I think that's a matter of opinion. I don't think that can be proven as a matter of fact. Now, when you look at, like, let me see if I can pull it up while I'm talking to y'all. 100 greatest, that's 100 grams to now. That's greatest comic book villains of all time, right? So, here's, IGN did a list of the top 100 comic book villains, right? I want to see what number the top 10 were. So this is how it's kind of hard to say that DC has better. So I'll go from number 10 to 1. Number 10 is Kingpin. Number 9, The Dark Phoenix. Number 8, Loki. Number 7, Ra's al Ghul. Number 6, Darkseid. Number 5, Galactus. Number 4, Lex Luthor. 3, Doctor Doom. 2, Joker. 1, Magneto. Now, if you listen to that, 1, 2, 3, 4 are DC, and 6 are Marvel. Yeah, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 are Marvel. These are the top 100. And then if I go from 11 to 20, from 20 to 11, so number 20 is Bullseye, 19 is Juggernaut, 18 is Mystique, 17 is Brainiac, 16 is Black Adam, 15 is Sinestro, 14 Red Skull, 13 Norman Osborn, 12 is Two-Face, 11 is Catwoman. So now you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You split 5 and 5 in this one. So it's difficult. It's difficult. It's really based on preference. It's really based on preference. And when they made this list, just to make sure you know, they went through Golden Age, Silver Age, Bronze Age, Modern Age. So they took the best out of all of them. Oh, excuse me. Pardon me. Again, I don't sleep, guys. I literally woke up. I've been sleeping more like 3-something hours a night. And I made sure as soon as I woke up and brushed my teeth, I gave y'all this. Again, I think it's a preference. As far as who do you feel has the better villains. It's really a preference. So, you know, your belief is DC. For mine, it's Marvel. For others, it's Marvel. For others, it's DC. But I do agree that, yes, Marvel should stop doing the one and done with villains. I do agree. I wholeheartedly agree. But also we have to remember a big part of that is the contracts that they all are signing, because you have to have a villain first and foremost. And you got to have a villain, right? The contracts these actors are signing, because a lot of these actors cannot afford to sign on for more than one movie. Reason being their schedules. They may have other things lined up. I'll go back to Mahershala Ali as Cottonmouth in Luke Cage, and how we were all upset because after he died in episode 7, spoiler alert, and a lot of people felt like, yo, why is it you only had him that saying, why'd y'all kill him off so early? And then Cheo Hodari Coker, went on Twitter and said, we only had him contractually for 7 episodes. We only had him for that time. So we had to knock out the first 7 with him because that's all we had him for. He had other obligations he was already locked into. And so, you can go back to saying, well, what about Yellow Jacket from Ant-Man? But was anybody really rocking with Yellow Jacket that fucking hard? Or, again, Killmonger in Black Panther. Yes, he could have been a formidable villain going forward. But also we have to look at Michael B. Jordan's schedule. And I think about this. Let's bring Michael B. Okay, let's say we got Killmonger and he lasts and he goes on further. Sort of a la Loki did leading into Thanos. And let's just say the next big bad within the MCU is Doctor Doom. Okay, let's just say they're not going to do a cosmic, galactic type villain, i.e. a Galactus, a Kang, or any of those guys like we have Thanos. Dr. Doom at some point would try to kill Eric Killmonger, right? And would you want to see that happen? Then you'd be upset. Because Killmonger can't be that world-ending threat. He's going to be cast aside, for lack of better words. And so I get it, but you also have to look at the villain. You have to look at the villain itself and see if the villain has longevity. If the villain's got longevity, then that's a whole different ballgame we're talking about right there, which I get it again. I get it. This is a damn good question, man, and I appreciate it for sure. I think that is all I have for this week with the questions and emails. Again, you can email me, madtitanpodcast@gmail.com, madtitanpodcast@gmail.com. And if you want to get your calls in, the number, 818-276-6947, 818-276-6947. Thank you, everybody. And that wraps up all the stuff I got for episode 70 of the Mad Titan Podcast, man. I am so mad that I didn't get a chance to get the other one out to you all, but I'm giving you this one because you all deserve this. We are going to have that one with the members of the squad. That is going to be my special guest coming up soon. The members of the Supervillain Squad. We're going to get that out. I promise you all, and I promise that more so to the members of the squad. But let me get to it. Y'all already know the drill. Follow me Twitter and Instagram at Mr. J Washington, MRJAY. Y'all know how to spell Washington. You should. You really should. Speaking of the Supervillain Squad, join it. It's on Patreon, patreon.com/Mr. J Washington. When you join the squad, you are a producer on everything I do, and especially here on the Mad Titan Podcast. But more specifically, you can join my $25 one-on-one with the Supervillain tier. What it is like a giant meet and greet once a month. Now, I know meet and greets, when you hear about them, it's like, yo, I'm paying all this money. I go see somebody. I shake their hand. I take a picture with them, and I'm done, right? That's cool. With this, what we do is we talk for at least an hour about whatever you want to talk about for an hour. You know what I'm saying? Whatever you want to talk about. And when I tell you, I have had so much fun doing the first round of these. They are all available on the YouTube channel, youtube.com/JAYWashington80. You can see the fun I'm having because I didn't expect these to be as fun as they were going to be. I knew they were going to be fun. I knew it'd be cool. It'd be nice to do these. Take an hour out the day or whatever and do these. But then to see how all of these turned out. It's been amazing. I freaking loved it. But thank you to all the members of the squad. Let's get into it. Adam Collins, Alberto Rios, one-on-one with the Supervillain. Thank you so much. Delia Chamberlain, Ashley King, AZ Badfish, Brian Kemet, Brandy Parker, Brock Severson, California Joe, Chauncey Woodson. Thank you, bro, for being on the one-on-one level. Cheryl Corbin, Christopher Conley, Casanachi Lobe, Dan Benke, David Adams, David Gaines, Deontay Clemens, Dizzle, DJ Snacks, Edward Wilshire, Fanboy Cantina, Fillmore Pockets, Fred Castillo, Greg Morrissey, Hank Staley, Hillary Nellums, Jay Breezy, Jake Icavetta, James Smart, Jared Simpson, Jason Inman, Jeffrey Chadorn, Jim Mason, Jim Payne, thank you so much being at this one-on-one level, fam. Joe Crack, John Mariano, John Lestrina, Justin Square, Kirsty Oliveria, Kyle Grandinetti, LK, Luis A. Torres, thank you for being at the one-on-one tier. Marcus Kennedy, Marcus Burton, Mike Moore, Mikey Lito, Paisley Darts, Randy Constance, thank you, bro, for upgrading to the one-on-one tier. Rahul Alejandro Mendoza, Rudy Rueda, thank you for being at the one-on-one tier, bro. Samir Tesfaye, thank you for being at the one-on-one tier. Steve Tozen, the Prince That Wasn't Promised, and Travis Earl. Thank you all so much from the bottom of my heart to each and every one of you all being a part of the Super Villain Squad. Hey, make sure you are rating and reviewing this podcast everywhere you get your podcast from, man. No matter what platform it may be. Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Player FM, iHeartRadio, wherever you are hearing this, please rate and review this episode, man. It'll help boost us up in the algorithm and share this to other people. Let me think. What is coming up? Like I said, I'll be a part of Mainframe Comic-Con again, the 15th and 16th of this month. I will let you all know about DC FanDome August 22nd, birthday's August 25th, and so much more. And we'll figure everything out because the summer's coming. It's just, everything's still so weird. But nonetheless, I want to thank you all. I love you all. I appreciate you all. Let's just get through this shit the best way we can, yo. This shit is all wild. From a pandemic to racism to this country being on a fucking whirlwind. Holla at y'all next week. Till then, take care. I'm out. Bye.